Hello, StarCraft fans! This is Falcon Paladin coming to you with yet another edition of Into the Void. This is going to be a game between Kempton and MajorMOTAMAN on Echo, the latter edition. In the top left side of the map, we have the red Protoss player. It is Kempton. Throwing down a pylon right away. And in the bottom right side of the map, we have the blue Terran player. It is MajorMOTAMAN. So a PvT for you guys in the edition of Into the Void. This is a silver level game sent to me at falconpaladin@gmail.com. At gmail.com with the subject of Into the Void. I sent these off to my screeners. They took a look at the very best ones and sent them back. And this is one that made the cut. So Into the Void is just a bronze versus silver replays. If you're looking for something to send to me that is higher level than that, go ahead and title it Mid-Rank Madness for gold, platinum, and diamond. And if you're a Masters or GM player and want to get cast, just put Masters or GM in the subject, and I will recognize exactly what is going on. So MajorMOTAMAN is throwing down the refinery and the barracks, walling off at the front to deal with any adept harassment that might come his way. Meanwhile, Kempton is going gateway, so nothing too weird about that one, and a little bit of a forward pylon from Kempton, so probably planning some aggression, although that pylon is a lot closer to the third base of MajorMOTAMAN than his natural. Checking out the natural base of MOTAMAN, decides to throw down an assimilator on MajorMOTAMAN's gas at his natural base. I don't know why he would do that. I mean, by the time MajorMOTAMAN needs that gas, he'll have some Marines or at least a Reaper and be able to knock that thing down, I suppose. Whoa! Stealing the gas here in the main base as well is Kempton. So really wants to prevent MajorMOTAMAN from doing anything super gas heavy at this point. MajorMOTAMAN does not care. He throws down an expansion at his natural base at the correct timing. He is making a Marine from his first barracks, and the Marines should be able to knock down both of these assimilators given enough time. I mean, it's not going to be instant, but I think it'll be in enough time to where MajorMOTAMAN needs to use that refinery anyway. So here comes the Marine. He's moving over, going to go ahead and shoot that thing down. Meanwhile, back in Protoss land, we do have two assimilators coming up on his own gas geysers this time for Kempton. Cybernetics core and a double gateway coming in at the same time. So I mean, he's kind of one-basing it. This is Into the Void, right? You can't really guess what people are planning on doing. The build orders can look good at the beginning and then all of a sudden take a weird shift and a weird dive into areas that you're not familiar with. Like, for example, we're getting Marauders with Concussive Shell right off the bat for MajorMOTAMAN. You don't see that a lot against Protoss. I mean, usually it's the double medevac Marine drop around 5 minutes. And it kind of looks like that, except for the fact we're getting Marauders instead of Marines and Concussive Shell instead of Stim. Oh, I guess maybe the Marauder does do better at shooting down buildings as he is starting to work down this assimilator. Alright, I have to tell you guys, I tried casting this game just singing, as that was highly requested after a TVT Into the Void that I cast last week. People are super interested in that, but I think I actually need to do some planning for that. I tried to wing it for a couple minutes in this cast, just singing, and it was hard. It was so difficult as the assimilator does get knocked down inside the main base of MOTAMAN. I can't believe MajorMOTAMAN fits as a player name. MajorMOTAMAN. That's 13 characters. Falcon Paladin. FalconPaladin. That's 13 characters. Should I be able to fit Falcon Paladin now? Should I try that? I should try that. I'm going to try that after this cast. Alright, anyway, two Marauders and a Marine knocking down the assimilator in the natural base as well. Might as well get rid of any evidence of Protoss incursion that you possibly can find before doing anything else. And there you go. Assimilator gone. No more scouting for you. Not that assimilators have wide vision range, as it turns out. So Adepts are moving out for Kempton here. This is actually not bad for silver versus silver. But as I always say in these casts, the first couple minutes are not what's hard for Into the Void players. It's when attacks start happening. It's when you're getting dropped. It's when you're trying to deal with stuff at your front and forgetting to macro back home. That really shows the problems inherent in this level of StarCraft 2. Cyclone coming in for MajorMOTAMAN. I don't think I've seen one of those in a PvT in a while. Seen it in TVT quite a bit. Not so much in the PvT. For a while there, the Cyclone was really good. I mean, we're talking Legacy of the Void Beta. Mass Cyclone just absolutely destroyed Protoss. And so they nerfed it, and then they buffed it a little bit, and they nerfed it again, and it's kind of at a point where it's fairly, I don't know, not super tanky, but doesn't die too quickly either. The Adepts come in here, and they are going to die. Look at the Tornado Blaster Marauder composition, losing a Marine, but that is it. I think the Adepts, does kill the Adept before it can Sonic transfer out of there. One of them managed to escape. Did she manage to escape? Or did all the Adepts just die there? I think all the Adepts might have just died there. Yep, unit tab shows no Adepts left on the field. In fact, there are 3 Stalkers coming in. But that's it. I mean, it's a mothership core and some probes and 3 stalkers on the way for Kempton. He might be in trouble with this push. These Marauders and Cyclones are going to cause huge problems for any number of stalkers, actually. Photon Overcharge could help immensely for Kempton if he can get that one up there. But the longer MajorMOTAMAN decides to wait, the more he decides to wait, the slower or the more ready Kempton is going to be with that one. Observer on the way from Kempton. MajorMOTAMAN waiting for reinforcements, I guess. He's got more Marauders coming up, more Marines coming in as well. He has no medevac support to speak of, but I think that's just fine. The Zealots might actually be what saved the day for Kempton here, as he is warping some of those in. Just because they don't take extra damage from the Marauders or the Cyclones. And they can actually get some pretty good shots off, assuming the micro isn't great from the Terran player, and I'm going to assume it's not going to be. So here comes a push. I'd be surprised if it really succeeds, just again because Photon Overcharge is really good. Mothership Core can toss down a couple of those, actually 3 of those right now, and MajorMOTAMAN decides to back on out. And then come back in again. I don't know what he's going to see. There you go. Baits out the Photon Overcharge and gets out of the range. Wants the Zealots to come in, and does get a Zealot on that ramp there. Does kill it, but both players doing a pretty good job backing out of situations that are not favorable to them. So again, we see some pretty good moves from these guys. They've watched enough professional StarCraft 2 to know what they're doing as far as what decisions they should be making, and that's actually a big deal. I mean, if you don't know that kind of stuff, you're going to be in a lot of trouble. The other stuff is macro. Like, always make SCVs, always make probes, always make pylons, and supply depots. Do not get supply blocked. Continue making workers, and continue expanding. Continued expanding is a huge deal in Legacy of the Void. These mineral patches mine out a lot faster than they used to in Heart of the Swarm. So you need to start taking your 3rd base at least by the 10-minute mark at this level of StarCraft 2. I mean, that can be even late in the higher levels of StarCraft. But for now, how about you just try to expand before 10 minutes? And I think you're going to be A-okay at winning games against other silver level players. So we have Marines, Marauders, Widowmines, and a Cyclone here for MajorMOTAMAN. An interesting composition out of our Terran player. Kempton's just kind of going Zealot Stalker, which, and I guess there are some Adepts here as well. So that's good. I was going to say, he needs a bunch of Adepts. He's warping additional ones in. As this pylon is somehow touching the gateway, but this one on the left side is not. The distance looks, I guess, different enough that would explain it. Widowmine coming in for MajorMOTAMAN and just burrowing at the bottom of the ramp. The 2 ramps, the ramp to the natural base and potential 3rd base for Kempton. And that forward pylon for Kempton has still done absolutely nothing. So I think MajorMOTAMAN is going to come up here with his Cyclones, his Marines, and his Marauders and try to bait some of these units into this Widowmine and then pick off the ones that are wounded from there. So he gets some shots off and says, come on in. Come on down here and try to kill us. Single Zealot follows, and Widowmine fires on him. Wow! Kempton sending 1 unit down. Perhaps, I don't know if that was on purpose or not, but perhaps considering there might be a Widowmine there. And it does fire, but only on a Zealot, and really nothing much is lost there for Kempton. Are there Colossus coming? Where are you? Where are you, Robotics Facility? Yep, Colossus in the production tab. Actually doesn't show up in the production tab if it's supply blocked. Yet waiting in the facility, so that's interesting to know. Zealot legs being researched and extended thermal lance coming in as well for the Protoss player. So we are going to see Colossus against a not super Colossus friendly build. I mean, let's see, how do I explain this? The Terran build is not super conducive to dying to Colossus. Cyclones don't take extra damage. We don't have Marauders here either. They have a lot of HP and they hit hard against Colossus. Marine count is actually fairly high, so if you can wipe out the Marines with the Colossus, you might be in a pretty good spot. Might be just there. +1 infantry armor on the way and +1 vehicle attack coming in as additional Cyclones show up to join the party for MajorMOTAMAN. Both players are not looking super interested in expanding, but attack and expand is what I've always learned from Day 9, back in those Day 9 dailies. And speaking of which, I need to start doing Fun Day Mondays. That's what I need to do. Alright, let's say this. If you're watching this, what I would like to see you try and do is win a game. We might end up just repeating something that Day 9's already done because he had so many of those. We'll come back to that. Coming up, Cyclones in the front trying to take down some stuff, but dying very quickly. That Mortal had wanted nothing to do with that Cyclone. Doing extra damage there. Photon Overcharge popping up, and MajorMOTAMAN is forced to retreat back. Once again, he just can't really find a foothold here to go up that ramp, and I can't necessarily blame him. So actually, a warping of Adepts by Kempton, trying to sneak on in and pick off reinforcements as they come across the map. Maybe that's the intent. I don't know. Passing in the night, though. Rallied units. Passing in the night. They see each other, decide not to attack because they're told to rally somewhere, not attack everything that they see on the way there. All right, what can I do? What can I do for a Fun Day Monday? Let's say All right, we're going to do one that I've seen. Was it Lag TV that did it? Maybe it was Lag TV that did it. But I want to say you can only defend, right? No matter what race you are, you can only defend against your opponent until you have expanded 6 times. How does that sound? You have to expand 6 times to 6 mining bases before you can attack your opponent. Send those to me at falconpaladin@gmail.com with the subject of, as there was an attack there, small push-up. Subject of, we're going to just call it Fun Day Monday for now. We'll find a better name for it, so I'm not actually copyright infringing upon day 9, even though he's not doing StarCraft 2 anymore. But yeah, Fun Day Monday. Expand 6 times before you can attack, and we'll do some casts with those. Adepts taking out a missile turret here in the main base of MajorMOTAMAN. These guys could be going after workers. Reaction time is fairly glacial for MajorMOTAMAN, and that says a lot coming from someone whose reaction time is also pretty bad. I'm talking about Falcon Paladin, in case you didn't know. The Adepts are going to take down a supply depot. Dude, there are alerts going off right now that you're being attacked. Here we go. Cyclone's coming in to get rid of these pesky Adepts. Look at the DPS on these guys. 1 Adept down immediately. Marauders assisting here as well. 2 Adepts down, and the 3rd Adept, not a problem. Nobody dies in that defense for the Terran forces. So finally, they did show up. How many SCVs died here? 17 dead SCVs. What? Those, wow. I mean, I guess I can't really talk about reaction time considering I took a while to recognize that was happening on the minimap. I guess in defense to me, my pop mic was kind of covering that section of the minimap for me, so I need to sit up a little bit so I can see the whole minimap as I am doing this cast. Holy Colossus count, Batman. That is 5 Colossus with another one coming in here from Kempton. He's got +1/+1 on those guys. That's +1 attack and +1 shield upgrades, which is interesting. With that many Colossus and this much bio on the ground for MajorMOTAMAN, plus with the Immortals doing some good work against the Marauders, 2 Immortals in this composition as well. It is 131 to 127 total supply. Pretty even, and actually has expanded his MajorMOTAMAN, taking a planetary fortress at his 3rd base, and Kempton is expanding now as well. So about 12 minutes in. Obviously, the Terran player expanded before the 12-minute mark, so I will give him marks, good marks, for expanding around the 10-minute mark, as I requested. And Kempton expanding around 12.5, probably 13 or so by the time that finishes, which is just fine as well. So MajorMOTAMAN has that fear we talked about in the Into the Void last week. Last week, I cast a TVT Into the Void where the players just were really afraid to attack. Bad things can happen when you attack. If you just defend, maybe things will work out better. So here come the Cyclones, some Marauders. They're catching some long-distance mining probes here, actually killing one of them, and then marching right on up into this natural base. The army is out of position. Coming from the backside, is Kempton going to trap these units inside this natural? They're going to try to kill as much as they can, taking out pylons, trying to attack cannons as well here, but they are getting absolutely torn apart by these Colossus. Wow. That did not go well for our Terran player. It's 141 to 96 total supply. There were some medevacs on their way to support that for MOTAMAN, but they decided to go home because there was no one left to support by the time they got there. Luckily, they didn't fly into that battle and get picked off by the stalkers on the ground. There are 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, about 11 stalkers on the ground right now. And they would have made mincemeat of those medevacs for sure. +3 attack on the way for the infantry from MOTAMAN. That is really good. For an Into the Void game, getting +3 attack at 13 minutes is almost unheard of. I am super impressed by MajorMOTAMAN at this point. A 4th Nexus coming in from Kempton, just at the down and rightish of his natural. I guess this would imply he's feeling confident after absolutely wrecking MajorMOTAMAN's army there. Both players spending their money pretty good for Into the Void here. Kempton has about 100 minerals in the bank. MajorMOTAMAN has about 700. Or so, both players floating a lot of gas, which I'm surprised by for Kempton, considering he is making so many Colossus and Immortals. It's a very, very tech-heavy, very gas-heavy composition we're seeing. I know he has 2 robotics facilities as well, so maybe he needs another one? I don't know. Kempton kind of setting up here along the left side of the map for a second. There we go. He's going to attack. I was saying, why would he sit there? There really is not anything to be gained by that. So moving on down south is Kempton. Possibly checking for Ninja Expands out of MOTAMAN, and then he's going to move, around here and probably try to hit that natural base. Or, surprise, MOTAMAN is building a 4th base at the perfectly wrong time. Perfectly wrong time and wrong place. This army for Kempton is just, well, it's coming for it now. It was just a little bit away, but now it is here, and now your base will die. Doesn't even get a cancel off. Reaction time, again, difficult. Even difficult for the pros, Get a reaction time on a base that dies in about 1.5 seconds. Here comes another big attack. Cyclones at the front, Marines and Marauders. But again, Colossus count really huge. One Colossus might actually die, and it does end up falling. Vikings in the sky doing a lot of work here as well. Are the Stalkers going to be enough? Are there any Stalkers remaining in this composition? I don't know if I see any. Why are these Zealots and Adepts not attacking? Did he tell them to hold position? I'm so confused. Kempton is forced to retreat. The Vikings are whittling down his Colossus force just with extreme prejudice. No Stalkers there to stop them from doing it. Some Stalkers now coming in to try to deal with this and just get rid of the Vikings, but Colossus is going to die anyway. Yes, it is. Yes, it is going to die anyway. They pick off a medevac, though. That's nice. Medevac overextends its bounds just a little bit, but ouch. Ouch. Motaman gets back into the battle by making Colossus to deal with the Vikings. Excellent response. Excellent response from our Terran player. Resources lost. Let's see here. About 8,000, about 1,000 or so. 999. Let's see. 10,000 or so resources lost for Kempton. Terran player has lost about 8, but it's pretty close nonetheless. Another push from Kempton. He just has Immortals, Adepts, and Zealots. Again, I don't know why his units weren't attacking during that battle. Did he tell them to hold position? Is that what that was? Because if so, that is messed up. That is super messed up. Either way, Motaman was not able to take a 4th base, which is a huge stinking deal. Huge problem. 4th base, considering your opponent does have a 4th here. He needs to take it out. He's coming to threaten it with more Vikings than anything else, which is a problem since there are no Colossus for them to kill. Are there enough Marines and Marauders and Cyclones here? They actually chased the army away. Kempton, what? No, he's just giving up his 4th. No, 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 no. No, 4th base. 4th base gone. All right, what do we have on the ground here? Like 2 Cyclones. 2 Cyclones, a handful of Marines, and Marauders. Again, I guess they have +3 attack, which is pretty scary. But you had several Immortals. You had Adepts. You had Stalkers. I think he could have handled that. He was worried about the Vikings when they really had no bearing on that battle to speak of. I guess they could have landed and assist with their ground attack, especially doing extra damage versus the Stalkers now because they're mechanical. Could have been nice, but I don't know that Motaman was planning on doing that one. He is getting high-sec auto-tracking, which is good for turrets and planetary fortresses. He's at 46 workers and 3 bases and starting to get mined out at his natural. He needs to expand. He needs to expand it now. He's oversaturated at every command center that he has. He's got too many workers for each of those locations. He needs to take a 4th base, and I know the last time he tried it went badly, but there you go. You can't be afraid. You must try again if bad things happen to you. All right, here it is. Marines and Marauders coming in to catch a group of Stalkers out of position a little bit here. There are some Immortals there as well. The rest of the army shows up from Kempton. Force fields being used against the Terran player. And doing a pretty good job of force fielding off and segmenting off these units for the Terrans. So Protoss is doing fairly well with the Immortals versus the Marauders. Stalkers versus the small number of Marines. They're picking off medevacs in the sky. They're not directly supporting their biological units. What are you doing, medevacs? Ah! All gone. Immortals saying goodbye. Marauders, you do extra damage versus you. That is faux show. All the medevacs are gone here as well. Bad rally here from Motaman. Walking his units into a meat grinder. All of them are going to die. They might take a couple Stalkers with them, but nope. Nope. Turns out that did not actually happen. So I'd like to see a 4th base replanted from Kempton right about now, as Motaman does have his own 4th base under construction. A small group of Marauders here does pick off a Stalker. Attack move. There's the attack move. Stalkers blinking around. That was actually a use of blink and into the void. Don't see that all the time either. Don't see that either. All right, so Immortals, Stalkers, more Stalkers coming in, and a Sentry. And he's pushing the front with his very small army. Is Kempton. Can he threaten really anything here? He is taking a 4th base back. All right, so retaking his 4th base, getting pylons up for defense. He needs more information. He needs to scout out this 4th base construction by Motaman, which is actually done right now. But instead, I think he's going to attack this debris and attack the 3rd base of Motaman, which is a planetary fortress. He does have 4 Immortals with +1 attack, so I don't think it would be a huge problem for him. Although Motaman could get a repair off, and we all know how that can change things, especially considering Into the Void players don't usually know enough to attack the SCVs building or repairing the planetary fortress and then kill the PF at that point. Alright, so both players are on 4 bases right about now. Marauders coming in. Again, +3 Marines and Marauders. Holy smokes, Motaman. Doing it right. Doing it right. Kempton's given up on Colossus entirely. He's going Stalker, Immortal, Sentry, which is actually a pretty Wings of Liberty composition here. I guess I would like to see Storm Guard. Double Guardian Shield coming up. Good force fields, keeping units away from the left side of the army. Actually preventing most of his army from attacking as well. And he's going to try to go for it, but no, look out. Stalker picked off. Picked off there. Force fields expire. Great concave here from the Terran player. Can he? Yes, he's pushing forward. He's taking out these Stalkers with ease. And the Immortals, when they're alone and getting fired down, getting picked apart as well. The Terran army with vastly superior upgrades, pushing it. He doesn't have much of an army either, but he is feeling confident in his abilities. He's getting healed up by his medevac. He's got stim. Again, these dudes have +3/+3. That is nothing to sneeze at. Attacking this 4th base. Motaman has a handful of Stalkers and an Immortal here. I don't think it's enough to actually stop this. And pushing forward is Motaman. Everybody getting healed beyond what they are getting damaged and attacked with here. And that's a good game out of Kempton. Kempton is defeated and Major Motaman is victorious. Woo! All right, so let's go ahead and turn that sound off and music down, as it appears Major Motaman wants to continue this battle. And you know what? We are inclined to allow him to do that, unless he wants to kill everything, which would be difficult. All right, so the story of this game was upgrades. It was upgrades. Our Protoss player had +1/+1/+1, which is great, except at the 21-minute mark. At that point, you got to have +2 or +3, something. Something's got to have +3, but he's completely gave up on those upgrades. I thought the Colossus abandonment was not necessarily a great idea either. Yes, they did get absolutely picked off by the Vikings in that one battle, but I just feel like maybe increase your Stalker count, right? Try to pick off those Vikings from below while the Colossus deal with everything else on the ground. It's not easy. It's not easy, but I feel like that was a better choice. The thing is, you need Splash. You need Splash against Terran. I know I've said this before. I know I sound like a broken record. But against a Terran player as Protoss, you either need Disruptors or Storm or Colossus. I feel like those are your best choices against a bio-heavy player. It's just you need something to do splash damage against these low HP units. Because going single target with Stalkers and Immortals, it's just not going to work. Yes, the Sentries do have the Guardian Shield ability, which does decrease the damage output a little bit of these units. But considering the upgrades were at +3/+3, it just wasn't enough. It wasn't enough. Look how quickly this army is tearing through Kempton's base. Again, they're unopposed. Right, there's nothing here for Kempton that can actually stop them from doing it, but this kind of an army, especially with medevac support and stim, is just absolutely terrifying to Protoss. So Disruptor hits can be a big deal. Colossus can be good. Storm, again, I'm a big fan of Storm as it relates to PvT. It just feels like the games I see Protoss win against Terran, they got Storm. Disruptor shots can be kind of hit and miss. A good Terran player is accustomed to splitting their units against splash damage because they've been dealing with Banelings for years at this point, and dealing with it. I mean, even now, if you started right now against Banelings, you'd still be dealing with that. So Disruptor hits are kind of hit and miss. Haha, Disruptor hits are hit and miss. And actually, is this going to end? This will not end our Protoss player, as there are still pylons remaining. But yeah, Storm is harder to dodge. You can do Storm and then Storm behind the units as they try to retreat from it. They'll go into yet another Storm. There are just things you can do that I feel like I have more control over as Protoss using Storm in a PvT. So where are we going? Where are we going, Motaman? You can see your opponent's buildings right now, right? Can you seriously not see them? There's not a Nexus anywhere, is there? There is not. How come he's not familiar with where these buildings are? Oh, those are pylons. I mean, probes up here that need to die. And there's a Cyclone taking out yet another pylon, but I don't know. Maybe it's a bug in the replay software, because the Protoss player should be revealed at this point. He doesn't have any Nexuses left. Yet this one sneaky pylon is evading the detection of Motaman, and he might find it with this Cyclone. Here we are, final moments for Major Motaman. Kempton left a few minutes ago. He was like, what up, peace, oh, no. Get down, and that's it. He gave up on finding that last pylon and decided to leave. So Major Motaman is victorious. And Terran gets the win in this one. All right. So again, upgrades. Upgrades are great. And that's going to be it from me. This has been Falcon Paladin coming to you with yet another edition of Into the Void. Go ahead and hit the like button. Hit the subscribe if you like what you saw and what you heard today. You can also catch me on Twitter, Facebook, and Patreon, all at /FalconPaladin. And until next time, as always, thank you so much for watching, and you take care of yourself.
Broken and ashamed by what you have done. There is no redemption, and so you must run. And it's taken your heart and broken your soul. You cannot go back until you're made whole. And you're running into the void. You go searching into the void to find a place you can live, a place you can love. Is it just an illusion? When push comes to shove, there's a light upon you, and you follow it on. Looking for a reason and a way to atone. All around you, the planets and stars. You're lost in a maelstrom of a great new unknown. And you're running into the void. You go searching into the void to find a place you can live, a place you can love. Is it just an illusion? When push comes to shove, and you're running into the void. You go searching into the void. And you're running into the void.